What's up, Tampa Bay Rowdies fans? My name's Carlos. That's Parker. For the first time ever, collabing for an episode of RBLR Rowdies. Parker, This is fun. Just before we hopped on and went live, I said, right now, I feel like we are the dominant Casciato of podcasts. We are changing up the lineup every week.
Yep.
Last week, it was Eureka and Parker for the first time making history. Now to me and you. James has been on an absolute bender with the Scotland fans, making noise wherever it is that they are, including at the Rowdies game this past weekend with his dad, where a dozen or so Rowdies fans, would you say, were there?
Yeah. They sent some pictures in the that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah. Maybe about half of the attendance there. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but not that much because it was a light crowd. We'll talk about that game and more. James has been on his World Cup adventures. He was at the Scotland-Haiti game last week and got some good content from there. I was actually at Czechia, South Africa last week, which was a really good time. And tomorrow, I'm making my way back to DC before I end up in New York for the Ecuador-Germany game. So fingers crossed for a better result against Germany somehow than against Curacao. I don't know. Sports are weird sometimes, Parker. You never know. It's the magic of the World Cup. There will be thousands upon thousands upon thousands of Ecuadorians in New York because there already are so many there. I can't imagine the atmosphere will be any less exciting than it was in Philly and Kansas City. So before we talk about that, before we talk about World Cup recap and this really solid game from Tampa Bay Rowdies this past weekend, Parker, let me ask you, how are you doing now that you have, this is your third appearance live on the podcast, one with one with James, one with Eureka, now one with myself. How you doing?
Good. Yeah. Like you said, I'm completing the trifecta and the heads of the RBLR Rowdies podcast. But no, doing great. I'm out in Denver currently for a bit of a work trip. Nice to get out of the heat and humidity in the Tampa Bay area. It's still hot out here, but dry heat is much less suffocating than the swamp that we all know and love in Tampa Bay. So I've been enjoying getting out, exploring a little bit, and
nice.
Getting some work done. How about yourself? How are you doing?
I'm good. I've been on a kind of wild road trip of sorts. Ended up, like I said, in Atlanta for Czechia, South Africa. Ended up now in South Carolina with my girlfriend's family. We took a little road trip and ended up in Knoxville for a day and a night. Cool town. Watched soccer over there, and I wanted to throw this in here. I put a note to remind myself of this. I saw a lot of one Knoxville gear in Knoxville, walking around, just like a ton of people in hats and jerseys, and maybe it's kind of like it was also when the U.S. was playing, and there were a few big watch parties around the city. But regardless, still really, really cool to see a town just, constantly repping their go USL. Yeah, putting on my USL hat for a minute. It was pretty sweet to see. I was talking to some folks at a bar, just like saying if, what it's like and what the support is like, and people really rally around that team over there. So pretty cool to see. I've always kind of advocated for USL in like the college town markets. It seems like there's a lot of potential for that. We see that in Boise. Knoxville's had great support early on. Even like Annapolis is kind of like a weird college town with the Naval Academy, but they've just gone crazy for their USL League 2 team. They get like $10K a game in the summer.
You get such a steady flow of fanatic people. All kind of coming together and looking for something to share support of. So I totally agree.
Especially in those cities where it's like they're already sports crazy, but they don't have a pro sports team to rally around. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
I like it's pretty sweet to see that. So shout out Knoxville and their fans, because it was just cool to see so much support around that.
And speaking of USL hats, I saw an ad in the hotel lobby that my hotel, it's like a Vibe hotel. It's an official hotel partner of the USL. So I didn't know that the league even had one of those, but I came out of the elevator in the lobby, saw a big USL sign on like an ad board, and was like, "Whoa, great to see that the league's getting out there and hopefully turning people in Denver onto
Yeah.
even though they don't have necessarily a team in the city."
Yeah. Well, maybe if Colorado Springs isn't that far, so if they really give up on the Rapids for some reason, I guess they could go become Switchbacks fans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's where I'm at. I ended up in Spartanburg for one night, which is where I watched the Ecuador game. Found like 15 or so Ecuadorians at a bar. And I was like, yeah, this is where we're going to watch it. And everybody was just crashing out for 90 minutes, as you can imagine, for the Ecuador Curacao game. So that was not as fun.
Yeah. Did you go to the watch party at Al Lang?
I did.
Oh, great. You made it.
I did. Yeah, I did. I didn't talk about that. So I wasn't on last week. Obviously, those of you in Eureka, but thanks for bringing that up because I had a blast at Al Lang Stadium. It was so much fun. The Rowdies and did a great job of kind of organizing that. I think the only complaint that people had was that the screen was maybe a little small for where folks were in the stadium. But other than that, atmosphere was great. I took my shirt off with the crew for a little bit in the tarps off moment. The USA game, which was just ridiculous. Like tarps off at a watch party, like it was just this so stupid. But I had a blast and we had a great time. Michelob Ultras were like $5, and I had several of them.
Those were always moving at the games.
Yeah, and they were throwing around T-shirts and stuff. Like great time. So obviously, like again, we'll save some World Cup commentary for a little bit from now.
Yeah,
but obviously the U.S. doing really, really well, locking up their first place spot. It's awesome to see. Awesome. One more game for them and one more watch party that the Rowdies are promoting. So we'll mention that in a little bit as well. But cool to see. It feels like Tampa Bay area, like the rest of the country, has really rallied around the boys in red, white, and blue.
100%.
July 1st will be the knockout game. We'll see who it's against, but keep an eye out and then go somewhere. I've always advocated for this. Like in moments like this where there's a big sports moment for America, like get out and watch it somewhere. Like be with people. Like it's so special to celebrate these kinds of moments where, country's so divided already. Like take the little moments in our history where we can just really, truly everybody unite around something and like enjoy it because
and capitalize on the momentum, right? That soccer is kind of sweeping the nation. And that's good for the Rowdies. I'm sure a lot of people that were at the party, and like you said, we'll talk maybe more about this later. It was probably their first time out at Al Lang.
100%.
And hopefully not their last. Hopefully they'll be there July 4th for, the Rowdies game and a lot of them to close out the year.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I actually was talking to my family about that. How many people were there for the first time? Like, wow, what a cool stadium on the water. They see the Rowdies schedule. And Jeff Attinella was walking around with a microphone talking to people, like doing his thing. Just a great job of getting people involved in the conversation. And good stuff from everybody involved and just good vibes in the soccer world as a whole. If you're going to watch the USA game anywhere, throw on a Rowdies hat. Maybe a jersey, maybe buy your new red, white, and blue Rowdies jersey. Always good to keep the name
RBLR gear.
Yeah, RBLR gear too. Shop.rblrsports.com. I'll give it a plug again later on. But it's exciting. It's exciting. Last week was a little less fun with the Rowdies results that kind of came in. But we're back on track. We'll talk about this game now. And it feels like we are flourishing again on all fronts. USA, maybe not Ecuador, Rowdies. We'll see if Ecuador can pull it back on Thursday. But Parker, enough waffle. Let's jump into this game. Let's talk about this game in Brooklyn. The Rowdies went to New York City for the first time in quite a while, actually, that we played a game in the city. Last time we've properly done that would have been against the Cosmos when they were playing at this same stadium in Coney Island. So super interesting, full circle, back to Coney Island, back to this really wonky baseball stadium in the park that is Coney Island in Brooklyn, and beat Brooklyn FC 2-0.
Yes.
Now we have a week off, well-earned break. The guys, I think, very much deserve it. So kudos to them for getting this result that we'll talk about, and hopefully they can rest up this week. Subscribe to the podcast. YouTube, if you're watching this live, join the conversation. Drop something in the comments. We love to hear what folks are saying. We love to hear what you think about the game this past week. What do you think about the season so far, where we're at as a whole? tell us what you think about the World Cup. Is the U.S. been performing exactly how you think? Did you think we were going to be the fire already, or were you a doubter like me?
Exactly, man.
Join the conversation. So, like I said, like and subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on any platform you get your podcasts on, and follow us at RBLR Sports on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We're there. Parker, talk to me. Do you want to give us a lineup from this past weekend against Brooklyn?
Yeah. So the Rowdies started with Waite in net, Akoff right back, Archer got the start, which was great to see. Dos Santos and Ostra made up the rest of the back line. Cruz and Schneider were in midfield, and I think a little bit interesting movement in that space across the game. Perez, Matias, and Cicerone in that three behind MD Myers up top. And it felt like a very strong lineup, maybe the strongest the Rowdies could put together. Tough to say. We've had a ton of great performers so far this season, but over the last few weeks, as we've had games, really quick succession, travel to deal with, and stuff like that, there's been some rotation. So nice to see like what feels like a really strong, cohesive 11 to start that match. Which it.
Yeah, it was really, like you said, probably the strongest 11 you threw out there. Cicerone making his way back from injury, getting the start this week. I'm kind of fact checking myself. Oh my God, sorry, my texts are coming through at incredible audio. Let me mute that. But yeah, Cicerone getting back into the lineup is one of my favorite things because he started off so well in the season. He kind of put his head down and just became a dog on the wing. So fun to see him play, and making his way back into the lineup fully has been really, really good. That's only a good thing for the Rowdies. Like that cannot be a bad thing.
No, and didn't disappoint in this game either. He was really, really strong in the first
certainly. Certainly did not disappoint. Mentioned 2 first half goals were all we really needed to win this one. It was on the backs of, like you said, Cicerone, Akoff continuing his good performance for this Tampa Bay Rowdies squad this season. One of my favorite. I mean, I say this about a couple different players, so I don't even know like if it's worth saying anymore. But one of my revelations of the season, certainly Dion Akoff.
Yeah, it's funny because of all the new faces, right? Everyone feels a little bit like a revelation, right? A lot of these guys we've faced off against in the past, and in championship play or something like that. But to kind of have them on your team and get behind them, you're supporting them and you're looking at them in a different way. So they all feel so much better, right? Like Conway and Dolabella, I remember facing off last year against North Carolina FC and just, being mad at them, Conway scoring goals against us, and it's very different to have them on our team in the green and gold for the Rowdies, and just really getting behind them and supporting them.
So a number of guys like that have been obviously they can't. I guess they can't all be revelations. Who cares? It's our podcast. We can do whatever we want.
The Rowdies are a revelation after disappointing 2025.
Yeah, that's kind of the whole story of the season is like bringing together all these guys I've never really – some of them have played together before in spurts, but making an entirely new team with only 2 returning players is so hard. And we still are where we are at this point in the season. It's been incredible. So back to the lineup, strong starting 11. Good to see Cicerone making his way back into the lineup fully. Another story we've been trying to kind of keep up with as the season's progressed early on this year is Leland Archer, who is one of the best defenders in the league. No doubt about that. And has been that for the last several seasons. As, again, another one who slowly made his way back from injury.
Right.
And gets a start today. His first start, second appearance, I believe, right? He got subbed in last week.
Right.
So fully fit this time around, gets the most minutes he's gotten all season in his 2 appearances, gets subbed off in the 63rd minute. But good performance from him. Good to see him getting significant minutes on the field. He is an absolute presence on the field that is just invaluable to have in terms of skill, in terms of just physicality, in terms of experience in the league. It's incredible to have him back. Parker, did you have any thoughts on him in this game in particular?
Yeah. So I remember watching him in preseason and being really impressed. It felt like he didn't miss a beat after being out for 12 weeks, I guess. A little bit over that maybe, as he missed like the end of preseason. But I think, the thing that's not super surprising, seeing how he performed in this game specifically, is like a partnership with Dos Santos, right? They played together in Charleston for a couple of years at least. So they have that level of familiarity. But no, great level of physicality, very assured on the ball, which I think is so important in how, we want to play. And, he's a strong tackler, which I love to see. And didn't put too many feet wrong, if that's the plural of the kind of phrase. In this one, which was awesome. I think it'll just help build his confidence, build the team's confidence that they've got another absolute unit back behind them. Gives so much flexibility. You mentioned the ever rotating cast here, following what Casciato likes to do to the Rowdies lineup. It's almost never the same game to game, and this just gives another kind of card up his sleeve to play something different, put a little bit of a tweak out there, and adjust how we build out from the back or defend or do whatever to get more wins, right? We're kind of back on a new streak, one game win streak, but a game nonetheless, and we'll keep it going as we get through the season.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to put it too, right? We're starting a new streak now.
Exactly.
You and James, I think, did a great job. Sorry, not you and James. You and Parker. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I've been at the beach and I'm like, and I've been, and it's like, when people say you're never more tired than like when you're on vacation or something like that. Like the sun's tiring, man. I'm all over the place right now.
Oh yeah.
You and Eureka did a great job talking about this last week, about kind of how, like, to what extent losing can be good at this point in the year for the Rowdies. It's really interesting because when you have such a long streak, it kind of starts to play in your head in some sense. Like the message from the team has been the same after every game. It's like, we're not thinking about the streak. We're not thinking about the streaks, just game to game. But there's always something to improve. Casciato's really hammered down on how we're not even close to where we can be, which is great to hear. Obviously, it's everything you want to hear. But to some extent, I don't believe that fully. You know what I mean? Like you have to be thinking about it at least a little bit. And I think it comes with a certain pressure to win every single game, play a perfect 90 minutes every game.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter how veteran these guys are, there's a lot of young guys. It's still a new team that we have to think about. I don't mind. I would have liked to never lose a game ever again.
100%.
But to talk about this, to talk about this game, I think this is a perfect bounce back game. Answered a lot of questions about kind of who are you as a club? Are you able to handle the adversity of one loss, right? You didn't play a perfect game against Charleston last week. You didn't play a great game against Hartford on the Saturday after, right? It was kind of a weird game. There wasn't a great crowd either, right? I think kind of maybe Tampa is a little soccered out with the USA at the same time, and Al Lang Stadium being used on Friday, like the day before, for the USA watch party.
Yeah,
the vibes were a little weird, right? It's just weird. It was a weird game. You had your chances. You couldn't put them away. So how do you respond after that? And that's what we found out in Brooklyn. Brooklyn's not a great team. You guys talked about that. They've struggled. With all due respect to one of my favorite people on the planet, current friend of mine, former classmate at Georgetown, Stefan Stojanovic, who I love to death. Starting for Brooklyn, the team has just struggled. That's just the reality of it. They haven't really found their rhythm. They've had moments of greatness. They've had a couple of games where they've had some great attacking play here, but other than that, if it hasn't been consistent. So as a Rowdies club that's in first place, playing the best soccer out of any team in the USL, I would argue, except maybe for last week, what are you going to be able to do against this struggling team? You got to go in there and take care of business, right?
100%. And yeah, we did, right? Rowdies did. I think the most important part for me in terms of the response is like a good first half, right?
Yeah, sure.
And I think it's been the case in a lot of our games so far this season where you kind of take care of business in the first half and can take the foot off the gas in the second. And that kind of felt like how this game went.
Yeah.
Right? Like we started strong. I think we had a shot on target in the first 30 seconds. It was a shot on target nonetheless. Yeah, test the goalie.
Yeah.
A couple of other like really good pieces of play in the opening 10 minutes, and then finally got the goals. First Cicerone in the 29th minute, then MD Myers, and then that kind of gives you that freedom that we've seen. You could make some changes at halftime. You can play a little bit more for, say, conserving maybe your energy, allow yourself to sit back a little bit. And I think, one of the things that you had mentioned about the players not necessarily thinking about the streak, right? And that coming to an end, right? There's all, like, you could get overconfident, you can get complacent, and knowing that you have to respond to that. I think that they, in the first half, like, knew they had to, right? They didn't create a ton of chances, but the chances they did, they took, 2 of, I would say, maybe 4 really good chances. And if you're doing that, then you're going to come out on top with how stingy the defense typically is. So to me, it felt like a good response, not the perfect response. I think 5-0 would have been perfect, but I'm happy with the 2-0. It was good, and I think great to show the league that, there's no flukes. The Rowdies are really as good as we've been.
Yeah. And these games have been hard in the past. Certainly don't take Brooklyn's position on the table as like a guarantee of this win. These games on funky, like, baseball stadiums, weird stadiums with 100 people in them, official attendance is 1,500. I don't buy that. Are you kidding me? Like, no. Genuinely, looking at the pictures and the videos, and actually on Instagram as well. Sorry?
It didn't sound like it in the stadium.
Yeah. It on Instagram, if you guys follow Jensen Nodbutton, he's the guy from England who goes around non-league stadiums over there and, like, reviews beers and calls them schlaggy or not schlaggy and burgers and whatever. He's got a few 100,000 followers on Instagram. He was at this game in Brooklyn. I was watching a video of it. I mean, there's no one there. Like, so my point is not to, like, berate a USL team for not having any people, but, like, some of these clubs can be weird, right? Like, some of these stadiums can be weird. It can be weird playing games like this. It's hard to get, like, up for a game in Coney Island, like when the World Cup is on and you don't feel like there's probably a lot of people paying attention to this game at the moment in the stands or maybe even on the broadcast. I don't know how much these guys think about it. I don't know what the mentality is fully, but it seems like it can be really hard to get up for this game.
Right.
But the intensity was there, especially in the first half. The talent, like the moments of brilliance were there. Play, like, that first goal was so pretty. I'm watching it back now on another screen, like, playing it up from the back, right side. Cicerone kind of a little chip right into Dion Akoff's run. Akoff tries to put it past Burns, who is an incredibly annoying goalkeeper from his day in college. I remember he played against Georgetown and loved a good chirp from the student section. Regardless, Akoff tracks the ball down, stays with the run, stays with the ball, and somehow this is where Cicerone's experience comes into play, because there's 4 Brooklyn players closer to him than any other Rowdies player.
Yep.
Plus Burns, so 4 and then 5 including the goalkeeper. Cicerone just, like, sneakily sneaks. Yeah, that would make sense. Sneaks behind all 3 of these Brooklyn players that are immediately in his vicinity and is clearly indicating to Acoff what he wants
He
to.
points. He's like, chip it up.
Yeah.
I'm going to beat these guys.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. If you're looking on YouTube, if you're watching this live, Parker and I are pointing up, and if you're just listening to this, that's why I'm saying this out loud. Go watch the video of this goal. Cicerone is literally just calling for it in the air, pointing up over these guys that are all taller than him, by the way.
Yeah.
These are all like center backs from Brooklyn. He's pointing up, and just literally sneaks behind all three of them. One guy, the guy on the back post for Brooklyn, is just standing like this. Like he just saw a ghost. He's like, "What are you guys?" And yelling at the other two center backs, and maybe justifiably so, because the other two center backs are just not looking at Cicerone. The only guy in the box, literally the only guy in the box for the Rowdies is Cicerone, and they're both looking at Acoff. So, okay.
And he's yelling too. He can't just be pointing. He's got to be yelling to Acoff, like, chip it, and pointing and how everyone's getting on him, putting a body on him. Yeah, it's surprising.
Yeah. So there was no hiding what the plan was here for Cicerone, but very much to his mentality. And if you've heard him talk, if you heard him give kind of like his thoughts on his play style and everything, it's kind of like who he is. Just he's a dog about it. He's a very hockey player about it. Like he grew up playing hockey. He's from that area up north. Am I remembering right? Minnesota, maybe, or Michigan. I think it's Michigan where he's from. Don't kill me, Big Russ. We love you. I think he's from Michigan. Yeah. He's very like hockey style about his play. He's going downhill. Right. If you ever watch hockey, there's not really a ton of like slow up, hold the ball. We're going to puck in this game, right? Hold the puck. We're going to play it around the back for a little bit and then kind of see what we can do when there's an opening. If you're watching hockey, it's like we're going downhill and then we're playing it square and then we're going to find a goal. Like that's it. Or
drive at them.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's Cicerone's play style. Drive at the defender, see what you can do. When he's like being patient, he's literally just telling you what he wants, and he's going to get in there. He's going to drive in with the header and finish with a nice little header.
Yeah, and like that header, it wasn't far out from goal by the time he made contact, but he was almost like fading away as contact. So like to get the power to angle it, like kind of hit it back across goal, so the goalie's diving past it. It was like, oh man, because in probably 6 out of 10 times you attempt that, you don't have enough speed on the header, enough power on the header to beat the keeper. They get a save, and you're like, man, what could have been? But he's good enough that he's in the minority of people who would convert that, would be able to do it. It was a really exciting goal, and I think coming off last week, I know we talked about Acoff quite a bit and his ability to get forward. He felt like, it could have been another opportunity for him to get a goal. I think he's yet to get a goal for the Rowdies after that through ball from Cicerone originally. But he was so dangerous, burning people on the wings, getting crosses in, kind of coming in a little bit more centrally than he has in the past a couple of occasions throughout the game. I'm glad to see that they've all got kind of that chemistry as they, are communicating with pointing and stuff like that to get those goals and make sure we're capitalizing on those situations.
Yeah. And again, another like dog mentality of a player. Like he's sticking with that ball after the shot doesn't go in, right? Just looking for the options, continuing to drive. Awesome stuff from him. That was goal number 1 on the day. It didn't take long for the second to fall for the Rowdies. Of course, it was via the penalty spot. And of course, it was our main man up top, MD Myers, who put it away. More impressive than the actual penalty itself. Not that it wasn't impressive, but penalties are like, it in some sense, it's a bit of luck, but it takes skill. But what I liked more than the penalty itself was how we've continued to press high, continue to find opportunities through turnovers we force.
Yep.
Right. And it wasn't like the most disgusting tackle you've ever seen. Clearest call for a penalty. There was a step on and who was it that actually got fouled here?
Yeah, it was Myers.
Yeah. So Myers gets some light contact. He gets stepped on his foot by the Brooklyn defender. But that opportunity comes because the Rowdies are pressing high up, making Brooklyn uncomfortable, forcing them into bad passes, really bad pass in this case. And Cicerone is able to pretty much just swoop in, pick up the ball lightly, drive it to MD Myers, who's already in the box, and MD forces Brooklyn into making a dumb dive in for a tackle. Unfortunately, it was the same guy who actually turned the ball over that actually caused the foul leading to the penalty. I didn't say that right. Okay, hold on. Let me restart. I can't tell you who it is. I couldn't tell you his name, but Brooklyn player turned the ball over, comes back to try and steal the ball back from Myers, steps on his foot, penalty for the Rowdies. Not a good day for him. I think it's Pinto, right? Yeah, Pinto for Brooklyn.
Yeah, trying too hard to overcompensate and make up for the bad pass.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, not ideal for him. MD Myers puts it away. Rowdies go up 2-0, and it's pretty comfortable from then on out for the Rowdies. Maybe, like you said, you would have liked to see a 5-0 game. You'd have liked to see us maybe pick up the intensity in the second half. I think it was a little sluggish. There just wasn't a lot going on for either team, for the record.
Yeah.
We shut down Brooklyn almost entirely. The midfield was very, very good at clogging up any passing lanes. Backline was there when anything really did get through. And Wade had to make a couple saves throughout the night. Was there for it. So, I think I described this earlier as a very professional win. Just go about your business, do what you need to do, and get out of there. It's a team that you know you're better than.
Yes.
Fortunately for Brooklyn, to go in there, get the goals, and get out, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, it wasn't full of chances after those 2 goals, but I think the Rowdies did have a couple of opportunities to get a couple more goals right before the half. I think there was one corner kick that the Rowdies were defending, and they worked it, from back to front in probably 20 seconds, got up the pitch. I think it was Cicerone again who played a ball into Matthias, who's like making a streaking run and like dragged his shot wide. That could have been, maybe one of the goals of the season with all of the passing and players who touched the ball in that, quick build up. And then there was another, like right before halftime, Louis Perez free kick off the crossbar that I thought that was in. But, close, but no cigar, I guess, on both of those chances to kind of expand the lead. Selfishly, and we'll talk about predictions a little bit later, I was hoping that they wouldn't after my 2-0 score prediction. But it's great to see them creating those chances to know, like, on another day we could have maybe gotten a couple more goals if things, just inches better.
Yeah.
And then I think in the second half, if you want to talk a little bit about the second half, like Brooklyn didn't create a ton, but they did have a couple of opportunities that they should have done better with. I think there was one in particular. Yeah. I don't know who it was. He had a volley from like 8 yards out.
Point blank.
Blew over the top.
Yeah.
I was nervous when the ball fell to him. I think it was across into the box. Cruz like heads it away, but it deflects off the back of a Brooklyn attacker.
Yeah, took a weird bounce.
Yeah, straight to this guy. And I think everyone was shocked that he didn't at least hit it straight at Wade, right? He hit it straight over the bar.
Foul ball.
Yeah, foul ball is right down the foul line in the baseball stadium.
Yeah, good thing the foul net was up over there.
Yeah, it could have hit somebody in the amusement park off in the background.
It might have hit somebody on one of the roller coasters back there. Nobody really knows where that ball landed, but
but those were fun. in the background. I'll get him.
Yeah, weird ass stadium. I've been there once before actually to watch the minor league baseball team there. The Brooklyn, I forget what they're called. Is it the Brooklyn Mets? Is it literally it's something like that? Anyway, whatever. Cool little stadium for baseball.
I'm sure.
Really weird for soccer, as you can imagine. We'll get James's take on it when he's back next week, about how funky the stadium is, and but regardless, I was kind of nervous looking back at that, because we talk about the cliche is 2-0 is the most dangerous lead in soccer, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get that goal. I think it was on like somewhere in the 60 range, 65th, 63rd minute, something like that for Brooklyn, where he had that shot.
Yeah,
and it was point blank. Guy rips it over the bar. You really didn't need to do a ton there. I don't think Jamali was fully ready for it unless it was right at him. If you just kind of get a touch on it and lightly, there's a good chance that slips behind Jamali for a goal for Brooklyn. Yeah. That was the best chance of the day. After that, there was a couple other shots that were really, really tough. Like, very, what's the word?
Like low percentage shots, but
yeah, low XG, very ambitious. Just kind of like see what if something sticks. Yeah. And Jamali's, very much a pro about it. He puts the ball away right in front of him, picks it up, whatever. Very light work for him. So, but you never know if that volley goes in, right? You're looking at a 2-1 game with 25, 30 minutes left to play. Different game. Then you have to look at the Rowdies and see, you've been sluggish all second half so far. Are you going to be able to put something together in these last 25, 30 minutes to really put it away? Or is Brooklyn going to have a chance to equalize here? So hypotheticals, right? It didn't actually go that way,
right?
Luckily. But that, in moments like that, that's where I'm thinking back. I'm like, man, like maybe just a little bit more intensity in the second half would have been nice to really kind of feel fully comfortable. That being said, Rowdies still win 2-0 pretty comfortably. These are low percentage shots for the most part that Brooklyn had, and I don't feel all that bad giving them those opportunities, because bounce back win, comfortable 2-0 win away from home, in a stadium that I actually should have looked this up. Like, I should have done the fact check on this to see how well we've done as a club in that stadium before when the Cosmos were there. I'm sure it probably wasn't that well, because these stadiums are always so weird to play at. But regardless, we win this one 2-0, and I feel pretty good about it. And so do the 12, 15, 20 or so Rowdies fans that were in the stadium. Good to see them. James had his big Scotland flag there. I saw somebody wearing the USA Rowdies kit, which is pretty sweet. So shout out to everybody that was there. If you're listening to this, you deserve a little bit of the credit for the Rowdies getting that W. I think it's always good to see some green and gold in the stadiums. Always plays a small part. Parker, do you have anything else on this game? Do we feel like we've talked about this enough?
Yeah, no, I think we've covered it pretty well. I think, second half more or less comfortable, kind of allowing Brooklyn to do things without really doing things that were too dangerous, and getting out of there with a win, and coming into this bye week now and getting to kind of like reset, recover, get some miles off the legs, have everyone stay local, no travel, nothing like that, and train and get fit. Yeah.
That's a good question that I want to ask you then too, before we do some quick shameless plug and then talk some World Cup soccer, because like you said, bye week this week for the Rowdies. First one, I believe, since I think it was week 1 where we played one game and then there was a week off. So first one since then where we have a week off. Think it comes at a good time, in my opinion. What would you say?
Yeah, it's been a grind, I think, for the team. There's been a lot of mileage on players' legs. I was looking at this before we hopped on here. So there's been 4 players, five players who have appeared in every game for the Rowdies.
Yeah.
Dos Santos, Cruz, and Schneider all at like basically 1,200 minutes. I think Dos Santos has only missed 1 minute of action in the league this season, which is
Crazy.
absolutely insane. But Cruz and Schneider not too far behind them, both around like 90% of the available minutes. So to get some time for them to not have a game, not sprint around like, the absolute animals that they are out on the field, I think will be really good. And then, even more time for Archer to get fit, more time for, Schaefer is right up there in terms of minutes. I think this was his first game that he didn't play in, so he'll get some recovery.
Crazy. Yeah.
Like all of these guys, the ground that they cover in any given match, the intensity I'm sure that they have in training alone, the travel that they've had to do over the last month and a half with some away games sprinkled in there and midweek games sprinkled in there. This will be, I think, a huge boon for the team. They'll all, I'm sure, love to have a weekend off and get to just be home a little bit more with family and have some fun in training and stuff like that. Yeah. What about you? What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah. Let me just take you back to towards the beginning of May when I started to talk about James about how crazy the next month and a half or so are going to be, which is where we're at now, right? This kind of break for a week. May 9th, away to Rhode Island, long away trip. You draw that one 1-1. You'd like to get the win there, but whatever. We're still undefeated at that point. Then you come back down to Florida the following weekend, go down to Miami. Not a long road trip, but a road trip nonetheless. Kill them 4-1. Put 4 goals past Eloy Room, who, by the way, had the game of his life in Ecuador. For some reason, could not put one past this freaking dork of a man. Whatever. More importantly, for the sake of this podcast, the Rowdies then go midweek to New Mexico. So you have like maybe a day of rest in there, a day of training, day of recovery. Then you fly over to New Mexico,
right,
for that game where they win 1-0. Come back to Tampa that weekend and play against Phoenix Rising, kill them 3-0. Following weekend away to Louisville, win 2-0 in a stadium that has been incredibly harsh to us in the past, against a team that is incredibly talented, despite where they are in the table. By the way, they're creeping their way back up now. They're in 4th place. Not their best season ever, but you thoroughly beat them 2-0. Away to Jacksonville the following weekend, and you're back at home for a midweek game against what I would say is the second best team in the league. I would say we're the best team in the league right now. You play the second best team, Charleston, have a crazy game against them, get a draw. Then you finally lose that streak at home against Hartford just a few days later after that midweek game. And then you go to Brooklyn this past weekend for an away game in a stadium that is just so weird, conditions that can be so funky after losing the streak. How does the team bounce back? Does it affect the mentality of losing a game that you Hartford's a good team still. Hartford's in the mix there. It's not like a team that you beat 99 times out of 100, but a team you probably want to beat at home.
Yep.
How do you bounce back after losing the streak, not playing really your best game by most statistics? You go to Brooklyn, you win 2-0. That's a recap of the last month and a couple weeks or so.
Yeah.
It's a lot of soccer with no real break and 2 midweek games sprinkled in there.
Yeah, it's like 9 games or 10 games in 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Those 2 midweek games, by the way, are an away trip to New Mexico United, way across the country.
Yeah,
against a New Mexico team who is very, very solid. You win that one. And then a midweek game against the second best team in the league. So you're playing a ton of minutes. It's a really, really incredible that without like even the context of the streak, right, of the undefeated streak, you take that last month and a half and you put the Rowdies in there and you tell me how many points do you think we're going to expect? Like how many points are you looking for? I'd say it's an incredibly successful month, like independent of the streak, right? You lose that game against Hartford. That's kind of like the recent talking point, obviously, and you bounce back against Brooklyn. So I feel good about taking that win into this bye week. But as a whole, you look at the, obviously the whole season, but in particular the last month, with the quality of opponents that have been in there, with the amount of travel that has been in there, the amount of games that could so often be trap games for you. You lose one of those games, you draw two, and you win the rest.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy with that. I think the guys deserve a well-earned break. You've only lost one game all year. Sure, it wasn't pretty, but man, I mean, I don't know if you can look at where we are on the table, look at how we played against Brooklyn, especially in the first half, maybe not the second half, right? Maybe there's things, like Casciato always says, there are things to improve on. Yeah. And I don't think he still believes that we're even close to where we really can be. I think there's so much potential to still be unlocked here with this team. We're at 31 points with 14 games played. First place, solidly. That's pretty good. I call it a successful month for sure.
100%. And, to remind folks, maybe you're a new Rowdies fan, you jumped on the bandwagon of the streak. Last year, we've already passed or equaled our win total from all season last year, all of 2025. We're not even halfway through. We're 3 points off meeting our final regular season point tally from 2025. We could literally get in our next game out in a couple of weeks. We could tie our point total for all of last season in half the season, right? So we're in such a good spot compared to where we were, compared to even what our average season is, and what's been, a great run of success, I think, as a franchise, as a team, as a club, over the last 10 plus years. It's incredible. And like you said, so well deserved after that crazy run of games to get a week off before we kind of like get back into it, right? Because it'll be another long slog until we get to the end of the season, essentially. It'll be game after game after game. We'll have a number of away games that we'll have to, travel for and get up for, and it's great to be where we're at.
Looking ahead just a little bit, I do like that our next matchup, which we won't talk about today, we'll talk about this next week, because again, no game this weekend, but the following week is a matchup against 11th place Western Conference team Lexington SC at home. I like our odds in that matchup just off the rip. So I think a nice game to continue just building momentum, continue putting the good performance together, add on to what we've done this past weekend, and kind of just drive more than 2 or 3 goals past that team, hopefully, who is really, really struggling. A Lexington team who has been quite a disappointment based on who they were able to bring together for that club this year. After that, you have a home game July 11th against FC Naples in the USL Cup, which will not matter. That game, which you should still go to, it'll still be fun. That game will not matter. Like, you can rest up some guys there too, but I would imagine Casciato still gives a good number of starters their minutes, keep the form and everything. We can rest a lot of people for this game because the Rowdies have already looked up first place in that group. So comfortable game there. Then you go away to Loudoun, who's also really, really struggling July 18th. Hopefully I can be there for that one. It'll be in my neck of the woods. The hardest game you have in the next 5 weeks is away to Miami.
And that's saying something.
Yeah, which is
they're not bad, but it's Miami.
Yeah, it's Miami. It's over there. Again, tough place to play sometimes just because of how weird it can be, like with how few people there are. And like, apparently Eloy Room is the best goalkeeper on earth, and I'm still a little worked up about that, but we'll get over that. Regardless, I like your odds over the next 5 weeks. Continue building momentum, continue resting guys, right? It's spread out. There's not a weekday game built in there. In fact, we don't have another weekday game until actually never. We played our last weekday game. So it'll ease up a little bit, right? There's still going to be a lot of travel. After that game in Miami on July 25th, you go back home and you play Louisville City, which is always a tough game. So don't take that one for granted, even though they're not super hot yet.
Right.
I think after that, and I'm getting way too far ahead of myself now. August 8th is probably the next game where you're like, wow, that's going to be a really, really tough game. So put that one in your calendars. August 8th is away to Orange County, who is first place in the Western Conference. It's certainly one of the best teams in the league. Yep. A team that still lives in my head rent-free from the USL final we played against them.
An absolute magic game.
Yeah. So, but for the sake of this season, put that one in your calendar because I think it'll be a good game and a good test for the Rowdies because, like I said, you have a few easy games coming up. Easy, right? Keep the momentum. Actually go out there and put the performance together. Then you have a good test away to Miami, good test away to home to Louisville, followed up by probably one of the tests of the season away to Orange County. There's a couple other tough games coming up after that. We'll look at those as we get closer to those. Away to Detroit, away to San Antonio. I think those are the other three really big tests. But I like our odds to kind of continue building momentum over the next few weeks, continue putting together good performances, and hopefully stacking up a good lead at the top of the table.
Yes, yeah. I think what we definitely want to do is keep that momentum going. It'd be great to get into a spot where we can continue to rotate. We don't have a bunch of must wins with a ton of pressure as we like creep towards the playoffs, right? You know, you kind of want peaking at that time, but you also want to make sure all of your guys aren't completely dead from playing 100%. Week after week with the same lineup, right? And I think that's what we kind of ran into as we were pushing for the playoffs last season. It felt like everyone was kind of dead at the end of the season and couldn't get over the line, even with some of the late season additions. But it'll be hopefully great to be in a different situation where we're not, one, pushing for the last playoff spot, but two, able to continue to rotate and still look good and still get results like we have far this season.
Yeah. If you take care of business over the next few weeks, you'll be in a great spot to start doing that on the back half of the year, right? It won't be all must-win games. You can kind of don't take it easy because, like you said, you want to be peaking towards the playoffs. But take care of business over the next few weeks, win those games that you should win, and you could go to those really tough games. I'm not saying you should, but you could go over there, play the worst game of your life, lose 3-0, and you'll still be fine in the table because you're going to win those games that you should win. So don't do that, Dominic Casciato. If you're listening to this, go to Orange County and get a win, get some revenge against them. But it wouldn't be the end of the world if you drop a game like that because you take care of business over the next couple weeks, right? So next few weeks. Cool. That's a zooming out, looking ahead. I think it's good to kind of reflect and maybe look ahead a bit as we enter this bye week. There's a lot of soccer still. The World Cup's going on. We can let's debrief a little bit of World Cup in a second. But let's wrap up Brooklyn coverage. Parker, do you want to give us your man of the match for this game?
Yes. Yeah. I went with MD Myers. I think he was really good at progressing the ball, holding up the ball. He drew a penalty, converted a penalty, just looked really good. And I think back to all of the frustrating times we played against him in his Charleston days. And I'm happy that he's doing all of those things that I hated for the Rowdies now because I love them. And it's always great for the striker to get goals. He's up to 5 on the season in the league. So hopefully you can keep stacking those up over the next few weeks. Yeah. Who is yours, Carlos?
My man of the match is Big Russ. Loved how he played. Russell Cicerone has been on fire whenever he's most of the time he's on the field. He's just like kind of a dog, puts his head down, runs around like his head's on fire. There was no different this time around. Obviously got the goal, but obviously more than getting the goal itself, I like that he was so involved in setting up the goal, right? It's such a big part of Casciato's offensive system that so many guys get touches on the ball, that everybody's running forward. People are getting involved at different points on the field. Cicerone's in the middle of the park, gets a touch to chip it over into Akoff's run, slips back into a point where he could be a threat to actually finish after Akoff doesn't slip it past Lucas Burns, the goalkeeper for Brooklyn, and finds himself in a dangerous spot to put the ball away. And he continued that for at least the rest of the first half. And I think the team kind of turned off a little bit in the second half. But I think for that reason, I'm going Cicerone as my man of the match for his involvement in this game. Yeah. By the way, we skipped over the standings. Rowdies, of course, are still in first place after this win. Charleston in second with a game in hand, 23 points, so 8 points back with a game in hand. Detroit is behind them on 21 points, so 10 points back on the Rowdies with the game in hand. Louisville sitting pretty in fourth place and sneaking their way back up the table, 21 points on 14 games like us. So the Rowdies have a nice little lead in the Eastern Conference. Hope to increase that as we continue to play more ball over the next few weeks. Out west, Orange County is setting the pace. They have actually a game in hand on their second place peers, Oakland Roots. So they're on 23 points on 13 games. Oakland Roots is on 14 games played, 21 points. That draw against Oakland earlier in the year is not looking all that shabby. All things considered, it's a good-looking team, and I said they would be, and they've risen up the table as the season has progressed. Good for them, and good for making our draw against them not look too bad. San Antonio in third place, FC Tulsa fourth, New Mexico in fifth. And again, I think one of the stories of the season has been Lexington's disappointing start to the year. They're in 11th place, not really able to find a ton of goals, not able to defend super well. Obviously, you need to do at least one of those well to put some results together, and they're way back in 11th. That being said, the Western Conference is pretty tight. It's interesting how, like, between last place Monterey Bay on 14 points and like the last playoff spot, 8th place, is on 16 points. So there could be a lot of movement still as games progress, but Lexington not too hot.
Even from top of the West to bottom of the West, Monterey, that's 9 points, and the Rowdies are almost that far ahead of Charleston, right? Who's second place in the East. So
that's insane.
A lot tighter over on the Western Conference side for sure.
Yeah, and it is pretty tight in the Eastern Conference as well. Like after the Rowdies, you know what I mean?
Charleston, the rest of the playoff contenders is pretty
love being able to keep this up. Something that is so important in the playoffs is home field advantage. We just play so much better at home, I think, than we do away. Historically, keep stacking wins, and you could have a path all the way to the final, hopefully, playing at home. I think we still have some unfinished business. Winning the final at home is, I think, so special. And I think we still need to do that. 100%. We missed out on our last chance, and then we didn't have a chance to play it the last time we made it to a final in COVID before that. So let's make it happen this year. Okay. Their own personal standings, by the way, in our predictions, Eureka's on 23 points. I'm on 19. Connor's on 17. James on 15. Parker, you're on 14 points in our predictions. You and I actually got the score and the result right. Yes. Rowdies 2-0 win last week, so we made up some ground this week.
Thank you.
Okay, let's debrief a little bit on some World Cup. But before I do that, I'm going to give a plug for the RBLR Sports store. It's shop.rblrsports.com. Liking and subscribing to this podcast is always appreciated. But if you want to support the pod just a little bit more, you can check out the link right below my face, shop.rblrsports.com. You can use promo code COYR for 10% off everything you find over there. Some great designs. Go check it out and wear it to the next Rowdies game on July 4th. America, celebrate. We'll be wearing our hoops kits, our Stars and Stripes hoops kits for that game against Lexington. Hopefully we can get our second win in our new streak at that point. So no Rowdies game this weekend for you to pay attention to, but get your gear in time for the next game.
Plenty of time to ship. Lots of time to ship to you. It'll be great. I've got the new red, white, and blue. Eureka's got the red, white, and blue.
Yeah,
it's great to see people so excited about that kind of like alternate kit that we've got. And perfect for a July 4th game.
Yeah, it's sweet. Fireworks, they'll have a good time.
Yep.
July 4th Rowdies game is always fun. Like I know some people that like go to a handful of Rowdies games every year, and they make it a point every year to go to the July 4th game because it's always a great atmosphere, always great fireworks after the game. Of course, hopefully fireworks on the field as well. So make it out there and have a good time. We'll talk about that game next week. We'll give the preview a little bit more, the deep dive on Lexington. But until then, go get your gear, shop.rblrsports.com, and get out for that game. Okay, let's talk a little bit of World Cup. I think the most important storylines are the U.S. soccer team. For me, that's the most important part. Like, we're in the U.S. We are fans of American soccer. We're 2 games in, 2 wins for the first time since like forever. I don't have the actual number on me. What year it was when they actually won 2 games?
It must have been 2002.
Yeah.
I think last time there's been 2 wins in a single World Cup.
Sweet. Right. Win the group with 1 game left to play. I think it's awesome. Parker, do you have any thoughts just on how the teams look? Like, is it surprising to you? Is it kind of on par for what you expected? Because I was a little bit of a doubter, but I bought into the belief by the time the first game rolled around, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah,
because we are where we are. But just some thoughts on the U.S.
No, I think in the lead up, if we're going like a year back for U.S. matches, there were some god-awful performances to mediocre performances to good performances, and it's kind of like progressed in that way. And talking about peaking as we want to hit postseason, you want to peak as you hit the World Cup, and it feels like that's what the guys are doing. Like, we've scored goals, which we've struggled to do. The defense has looked really, really strong, which we've also struggled with at times.
Yeah.
We've been fortunate enough to deal with the Christian Pulisic injury, still able to get goals. Chris Richards coming back from his injury, thankfully, because he's been solid at the back.
Yeah.
I am honestly surprised, not necessarily surprised that we beat Paraguay and Australia, because I think we should beat those 2 teams, but surprised in the way that it's happened and the way that the group's gone, right? I think coming in, we would have expected this Turkey game to be almost a final, right? Like, maybe we're both on 6 points in an ideal world, and this decides who gets an easier matchup coming out of the group. But I mean, we've got it locked up. You can rotate players, people on yellow cards, they don't need to play. It's obviously best case scenario that probably no one would have predicted to have happened.
So it's pretty sweet. And you're right. I don't think it's maybe like the U.S. winning their first 2 games. That's so shocking, but it's they played so well, and it's been fun to just have that locked up before we even get to the Turkey game. Obviously, them dropping the game in Australia really, really messed things up for them.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there was that game against Paraguay, which was just really, really fun to watch. It felt I've seen a lot of tweets about like some of these late World Cup games being the spiritual cousin to like Pac-12 After Dark. If you're a college football fan at all,
sure.
Like that was a late game that just felt so fun to watch because it was so sicko. And Paraguay actually won that game 1-0. So Paraguay is on 3 points and Turkey's on 0 points. So Turkey has nothing to play for. They can't get out of the group.
No.
I'm sure they'll play hard because they want to win. Obviously, one game at the World Cup.
They just want to score a goal. They need to score a goal.
They're done and down and out. Paraguay versus Australia will actually be a really fun game, I think, for that second place spot.
Yeah.
It'll be a really, really, really interesting game. They could both advance if they both draw. So if they draw with each other. So I'm curious if they're playing really safe to come out. Because if they both draw, they'll both be on 4 points. One of them finishes in second. The other advances as a best third place team.
Yeah.
So it'll be an interesting game to watch, Australia Paraguay at the same time as the USA game. I'll probably honestly have that one on more than the US game when that comes around that night. It'll be a fun one. I think they'll start kind of slow, but both of them are going to want to win, finish in second place. And Paraguay is not an easy team to break down.
No.
That's why I give the U.S. so much credit, because they were defensively the second best defensive unit in South America during the qualifiers. Number 1 was, of course, Ecuador.
Yep.
But Paraguay locked up so hard in the second half of qualifiers. They beat Brazil. They beat some other good teams like Colombia throughout the process and have just been really, really solid defensively. That's been their identity. They were able to do that against Turkey with 10 players for most of the game. Awesome. Like, just insane. So the fact that the U.S. was able to break them down so quickly was just like, hold on, like there might be something here, And again, say what you want about Paraguay being not like a top team or anything, but the fact that offensively we were able to break them down so quickly was awesome to see.
Amazing.
Yeah. So there's something special going on with the U.S. Enjoy it. watch that game against Turkey if you want to, but I think the Paraguay Australia game will be really, really fun. Regardless, Turkey USA next on Thursday.
Yep, Thursday, another late one, 10 o'clock kickoff Eastern.
Yeah. Here's a question for you, Parker. Pulisic didn't play last week because he was injured. Do you give him a few minutes at least in this one just to get some his legs under him, or do you fully rest all the guys on yellow cards, leave Pulisic on the bench, and just have him come back for the knockout must-win game?
If it were me, I'd give him like 10 minutes max. A calf injury. I don't know if you've ever hurt your calf. I tore my Achilles in high school, and it was absolutely horrible to come back from. So I don't want him to be running around getting kicked by a maybe even more frustrated Turkey if they're down.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I would love for him to rest if he can, but if it's better for his health to get 10, 15 minutes, like go for it. Right. What would you do in that scenario?
It's interesting.
Pochettino.
It's interesting. Yeah. I'm like, I don't, because to me, it seems kind of crazy to, like, if he's available for a little bit, to not give him like a minute or two, just like run around on the field, like have him, like, get his legs back under him, because the next game is going to be a knockout game, must win, right? Win or go home. In theory, the U.S. is a pretty light path to maybe all the way to the quarterfinals. If my math is right and my reading was correct, it looks like it would be either Bosnia or Qatar. If one of those teams win in their match against each other, then it would be one of those that play the U.S. in the first knockout round. So maybe not like the hardest opponent either at the beginning, but certainly a knockout game, right? You want your best players available. So weird. Like, it's going to be weird. I'm fascinated to see who he throws out in the field against Turkey. So I'll at least look at the lineup and see kind of like who comes out into the field. But I think it would be cool to, give the guys that are just kind of on the team a chance to play a World Cup game. I think that would be pretty sweet, right? There's a ton of guys that probably deserve some minutes. And why not give them an opportunity to go out there and prove that they can get real minutes on the team, right? I'm like, Zendejas is a fun player for me. Like, throw him out in the field, let him get minutes, because he probably is not starting any point soon, and see what he can do. So
and I'd love to get Pepe a goal. That would be exciting. I love what he brings to the game.
100%. Okay, that's the U.S. There's obviously so many other storylines happening in the world of the World Cup. We could spend hours and hours talking about that. There's been fun games. Ghana and England just tied 0-0 today. I think England has been a little slow in their start of the World Cup campaign. But we could say that about a number of teams. Like, it's been really, really interesting. Obviously, Curacao was a story for a day, and I hope we never talk about that ever again. But it is worth mentioning that USL goalkeeper Eloy Room is now the second all-time leader in a World Cup game in number of saves. It's ridiculous.
I don't know. 90-minute match, right? Tim Hadley's got the record, just one more than him.
So stupid. It was kind of Mickey Mouse because our shots, Ecuador, was just kind of right at his chest the entire time. He probably made like 2 impressive saves. The rest of the shots were just awful. Like,
there was that one Inter Valencia chance. How did he not score? But most of them were kind of dribblers, or like you said, right at his chest. Amazing.
You're asking the question 18 million Ecuadorians were asking it too. I don't know what that was going on. Regardless, the World Cup's been really, really fun. Keep watching. There's more games tonight. Panama, Croatia kicks off right now if you're listening to this live. Colombia, DR Congo could be an interesting one, sneakily. Norway, Senegal yesterday was a banger. Cape Verde, our Tampa legends, our Rowdies Waters Complex compatriots have been on fire with 2 draws. Are you kidding me? Against Spain.
Water.
Yeah, there's something in the water on Waters Avenue. I don't know what's going on. And they have an opportunity to qualify with a win against Saudi Arabia. Like, that is insane.
I think they can do, looking at Saudi Arabia's I guess they tied Uruguay, but they didn't always light it up.
No, they did not. Like, they Cape Verde has played, like, they got through the 2 toughest games with a point. and now they have an opportunity to go out and play, in theory, the lightest game and win. Like, that's awesome. So could be fun. Just tons of great games been happening around the World Cup. And yeah, some of the games, there's been some blowouts that might happen with 48 teams, but I think for the most part, you've had entertaining games, entertaining storylines. Messi, Mbappe, Holland are killing it with goals. Like, just fun group stage so far. And we still have one full round of matches to determine group winners, second place, and the best third place.
Yeah. It's been crazy. I don't know if you've seen these videos that have been like circulating. It's like a daily recap, all of the goals in the home nation's commentary. So to hear all these, obviously languages that I have no clue what exactly they're saying, but you can hear the excitement that maybe the Fox coverage in the US doesn't have for Bosnia scoring or Sweden scoring. And it's awesome that the celebrations in the watch parties locally are amazing. The Norway rowing after their victory, incredible. It's amazing scenes, and it's so that's happening in the US, even if I'm not really taking part in person in any of that.
Enjoy it. Everybody get out, watch it somewhere fun. Watch the US games at a bar with people. Enjoy the Americana of it all. It's I don't know about once in a lifetime. Maybe we see another World Cup make our way back here in 30 years, but it'll be a while.
Yeah.
So enjoy it while you can, because it's been a fun time. Okay. That's the World Cup. Tons of stuff happening. Keep watching the games. Enjoy. Hopefully next time I talk to you live, it'll be because Ecuador has beaten Germany and somehow finds a way into the knockout rounds. Fingers crossed. Follow us at RBLR Sports on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Threads, anywhere you get your doom scrolling on social media. We are there. You can follow me at CarlosTPA10 on Twitter. Parker, can people follow you anywhere?
No, just follow RBLR. Great content everywhere. Yeah, it's down here at the bottom of the screen. Great content everywhere. All Tampa-based sports, not just Rowdies. So no matter who you're a fan of, check out all the other RBLR accounts.
Yes.
It's super fun content. It's never ending, never stops. Go Tampa-based sports, but go Rowdies in particular. For me.
Go check out Parker's writing as well as Connor's writing at the RBLR Sports website, rblrsports.com, so you can find some commentary from both of our guys over there. So it's been another fun one. Thanks for tapping in here, Parker. Like we said, we are the dominant Casciato of podcasts right now.
Yes.
Rolling out new starting 11s every week for our podcasts here on YouTube, on Spotify, on the iHeartRadio app, Google Podcasts, if that's still a thing, Apple Podcasts. Check it out. But to listen to us live every week, we're live every Tuesday for the most part, unless there's a weekday game, but there is not now for the rest of the season. So come check us out Tuesdays on YouTube. You can see our lovely faces. But Parker, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for joining me on this Tuesday evening.
Yeah, awesome to talk to you, Carlos. And come on, you Rowdies.
Come on, you Rowdies.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.